Resilient Queen, you are beautiful, you are strong, you are resilient, you are capable. You are not the scars, the hurt, or the pain. You are so much more, and you are more than enough. You have everything you need to level up, faith up, and bounce back into the ring of life. Come here, girl. Let me fix your crown. There you go. Looks good. Resilient Queen, let's go. Let's put this on the big screen. We are now live. Put it on the big screen. Okay, there we go.
At PCOM Georgia, we see a world where health education is fueled by humanity.
I'm trying to get our chat showing. Okay, we are good. We are good. I'm excited. So, yes, I am so excited. Kimarra, you know that we have some of the best conversations when we do talk. So I'm so excited for you to, come and just share with the ladies just your insight and your story and what you have been through and just how to reclaim your life. Because one thing that I always tell you is that you not only preach this ministry, you live it. Like I literally see it, you be like, girl, this is what just happened. And I'm like, okay, she is really getting it she is really coming back. She's always bouncing back. Like I always see you bounce back. You like, girl, I was thinking of this idea and everything, and then I'll pop up on social media a week later and I'm like, oh, she talking about exact same thing she just talked to me about last week. So I just love that. So I just cannot wait. Let's just go ahead. I really hope that this is just like our conversations because we go, girl,
I think it is.
We start out one way and then God does a whole different thing. So I am so excited just for what God is going to do, because we know God is going to do something every time we even talk. Holy Spirit is just like, hey, listen, y'all thought y'all was talking about this, but this is what you're really going to talk about.
All the time. I'm excited. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Okay. So introduce yourself. Tell us about your ministry. Tell us about what Kimarra has going on right now. So just give us a little brief spiel about you.
All right. So I am Kimarra, of course, and I am the Queen of Recovering All. And that title, my business coach actually gave it to me. And when she gave it to me, I was just like, you know what? You're right. Because like I'm really here and I am recovering everything. I'm recovering it all. Everything that people probably thought that, oh, you can't do it. It's impossible. Like I'm here to accomplish everything. And just a little background story of me. I am a survivor of domestic violence. I left that relationship in 2012. And after leaving that relationship, I was what do you say? Like I was really down, like just really down mentally and emotionally. And it was really bad. And I was at a bad place in my life at that point. But in 2018 of December, that's when God gave me Reclaiming Your Life. And he gave me that because I had to reclaim my life after leaving that relationship. Like it was hard and it took a long time, but I did the work. And the woman that I am today, to go back and look at, the broken person I was in 2012, or even when I did start the journey of reclaiming my life, like I've grown so much. And, now it's time for me really to show up and help women how they can reclaim their life after trauma or even leaving a domestic violence relationship.
Yes. Okay. That is awesome. Okay. So give me one word that you are in this season of your life.
Oh my goodness. One word. Let me think about this. I'm going to say dedication.
Dedication. Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. And I actually see that. I see that, Kimarra, for you. So I love that. Okay. So, you talk about your journey, about coming from just these traumas and everything in life, and always having this bounce back spirit. So, we all know that when it comes to trauma, it usually starts with us in childhood. It usually starts with us when, we're little girls and things happen to us. And although, because I believe there's a two-sided thing to trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's the part where you have to unlearn and you're trying to, to grow from some things. You're trying to become a better person, especially as becoming a better woman,
Mm-hmm.
because you learn that those things, that maybe those thorns in the side, those things do, um, make you better and
Right.
make you who you're becoming. But there's a whole nother side, um, to where you actually start to share your testimony and you start to become a powerhouse. So
Mm.
tell us about little Kimarra when she was a little girl, and how did that influence who you are today?
So little Kimarra, all right now. Um,
Like, yes, let's get into it.
so little Kimarra, she was very insecure,
Mm,
and she had a lot of insecurities. Um,
mhm.
she wasn't popular, she wasn't the
Okay.
popular girl, and she was embarrassed and ashamed of her lips because I have big lips, right?
Mm,
Back in the
nothing wrong with that, honey.
okay, as you get older, you realize ain't nothing wrong with it, and you grow to love yourself.
Hmm.
But back then kids, would tease and things like that. And
Yeah.
I dealt with some trauma too as a child.
Yeah.
And as growing up, it led to more insecurities and wanting um love. I didn't really I knew my father, right? But
Yeah.
my father was in Jamaica and I was
Mhm.
here. So I didn't have that relationship, with my father as a little girl. So, you're yearning for love, and yearning for love got me into that relationship as I got older.
Mhm.
And, in that relationship, what I thought was love wasn't love,
Yeah.
but I wanted to hold on to it because I thought it was love. This man is showing me affection and, things, it was, how do I say this? Yeah, so basically those insecurities led to that relationship looking for something that was not there.
Okay. All right. All right. So tell me about, like, navigate or paint a picture about, how do you use those certain insecurities in your ministry now with reclaiming your life?
So now, okay, so Kimarra now, of course,
Okay.
she has her confidence. She know
Mm,
who she is.
yes.
Um, and and nobody can tell me no different.
Mm.
And I don't just allow anything to happen to me, and I don't let anyone talk down to me.
Oh.
Um, but I always wasn't this Kimarra, even as an adult. So after leaving that relationship, it left me insecure. It left me heartbroken. It left me feeling like I was not worthy. I didn't deserve being loved. I felt fat, but I wasn't fat. I look at myself now, I'm like, girl, you wasn't even fat. Like, what you talking about?
Mhm.
Um, but to get where I am today, I had to work through a lot of
Mhm.
emotions, and it wasn't easy. And the one thing I will say is that you have to get help, and the earlier, the better. It took me it took me 4 years to reclaim my life. And when I say it took me 4 years to reclaim my life, it took me 4 years to believe that I'm worthy, I'm deserving. You
Mm.
know, I got sick
Yeah.
and tired of being sick and tired of living paycheck to
Mhm.
paycheck,
Yeah.
and not, you're seeing other people living their dreams, or they're accomplishing things in their life, doing purposeful things, while I'm
Mhm.
just sitting here like that. What am I doing? You
Right.
know? But once I started to reclaim my life, that's when I knew I create my life.
Say that.
I create my life and we
Mhm.
create our life.
Yeah.
And that's what came to me today when I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? And I want y'all to think about this because we really do create our life. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain. That's you literally creating your life. You're writing the desires, you're writing the things that you want. And this is what I had to do to reclaim my life.
All
I
right. Come on.
journal.
All
Okay.
right. I done felt it. And I already know from our phone conversation. Listen, you talked about 4 years it took you to reclaim your life. And what that makes me think about is when we're waiting on God
Mm,
and we don't see anything change.
mm.
So tell us about those 4 years and just your journey and waiting on God to make the to make the aha happen, or to for the miracles to come and for the breakthrough to come. Talk to us about that journey, those 4 years waiting on God, when you were reclaiming your life. Tell us about that.
So during that, so once I left that relationship, I soon after got into another relationship, which is my three children's father
Mhm.
today. And in the beginning of our relationship, it was really hard because I still had some insecurities. I still had some trust issues. And I believe that I probably should have worked on those things before getting into a relationship.
Mhm.
Thank God this man that I'm with today, he understood what I was going through, and he was patient. He didn't rush, like if I lashed out or cursed him out, he didn't really take no offense to it. He just be like, you know what, you're crazy, and be joking. But I love him for that because he took patience. He didn't rush. Um he didn't have like a quick temper with me or anything like that.
Mhm.
But we had to take a break. And when we took a break, that's when I decided, like, yo, I really need to work on myself. I have some issues that's deep rooted that I need to figure out. And I was going to school. So when I met him, he was going to school, right?
Mhm.
And I said, you know what? I want to do something with my life because I need to feel like it's meaningful or something. So I decided to go to school. So when we took our break, which was probably like a year or 2 years after we met, I was in class and my teacher, she was talking about how she was with her ex-husband and how he basically stole like $80,000 from her.
All
And
right.
she said that she read a book called Open Your Mind to Prosperity. She said reading that book, she was able to forgive him. And I'm just like, well, I wouldn't be able to forgive anybody who would have stole 80,000 from me, or put me in $80,000 in debt. But I said, let me go buy this book.
Okay.
And that book changed my life. That book is how I started to reclaim my life because it talks about principles, life principles that we need to, instill in our lives. And one of the things was forgiveness. And
Mhm.
that's what I had to work on was
Mm.
that forgiveness.
Mm.
When I tell you, like I wrote text messages to my abuser saying I forgive you. And
Mhm.
I wrote messages to other people who have done me wrong. But you know what I had to learn? That I had to forgive them in my heart for me, not for them, for me to be at peace with myself so that I can be able to be happy and start really living my life.
Whew. Kimarra. When you spoke about forgiveness, I was like, whew, gave me goosebumps because I think a lot of times on our journey, even with trauma, and you're recovering and you're walking this journey out, and you don't know, when those moments are going to come where you are being triggered, or those
Mhm.
moments that are coming where you're overreacting versus living life. You have to really, and it's crazy because after 4 years, I'm sure you were able to catch, okay, let me take a step back because maybe I'm being triggered at this moment, or
Mhm.
maybe I'm overreacting, like I'm lashing out. Let me start doing some unlearning so that I can learn some new ways to basically communicate, whether it's working on your forgiveness, working on your healing, and that is so important. So I'm glad that you brought that up. But forgiveness, let me
Come
touch
on.
that. I was in my quiet time, maybe a week or two ago, and you said it, and it just hit me again, like the whole experience. But when you talked about forgiveness, and I can't remember where off the top of my head right now, but it was talking about in the Bible, it was talking about forgiveness in that we shouldn't hold any offenses.
Mm.
Um, towards people, and we should forgive them. And I remember reading it, and I'm like, but God, this person you talking to me about, like, exactly what's happening at this moment, like this
Right.
person. God, I'm needing some guidance at this time. And it was so much that I remember I was going through, because God had brought to me that you cannot hold that offense against them. You
Mm.
have to forgive that person and move
Absolutely.
on. And you have to learn how to keep going in your journey. So
That
I was like,
part.
okay, okay. But when you brought up forgiveness, I said, oh, okay. All right, God, that's it. That's it. You bringing me back to that quiet time, but that is important, that you have to learn how to forgive. And I'm sure that has been so, as you just mentioned, that has been so instrumental in reclaiming your life. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you mentioned that. And another thing that you mentioned was how your husband was there and was very supportive of you during this process, and it made me think about community. It
Mm.
made me think about the importance of having people who support you
Absolutely.
when
Yeah.
you are recovering from trauma,
Yeah.
because trauma is so heavy, especially when you're experiencing these things as a child, and then it flows over into who you choose to date, who you choose as friends. It
It
flows over
does.
into who you are as a person. Like you
Mhm.
don't. It's crazy because you'll start becoming some things that you didn't want to see or you didn't like as a child, and you have
Right.
to really work on those things. So I like that you mentioned the work, but that community piece, how important is it to have people who support you in a community when you're recovering from trauma?
It's very important because not even just community, but also your environment, like your friends,
Mm,
family,
mhm,
co-workers. And I say that because I don't I don't think I really had community. I really don't think I did. But
mhm,
I believe it's necessary. It really
mhm,
is. So you can have that support system so that you can have those like-minded people who are trying to do what you're doing and going in the same direction. And to
mhm,
go back on environment on my journey of reclaiming my life, I had to be mindful of who was around me, my friends, the talks
mm,
that we were having. Were they negative talks or positive talks? Because
yes.
that has an influence on you. And that's something that you also got to unlearn, because as you start to, separate yourself from certain people, you'll realize and you'll look back at them like, oh my God, that person is so toxic. They're so negative. Like, wait, was I like that? You start to really self
Mhm,
evaluate yourself to see, like, oh
yeah.
my God, that was me at one point. And when you are on this journey to becoming, um, this new you, that's what I'm going to call it,
Mhm.
you really have to let some people go until you can get to the point where you know how to disconnect. You know, like if you're on a phone call with this person and you know they said something that was left and you're like, you know what, the baby done did something. I'm gonna have to call you back for a little bit, you know, and I'm, you,
Yes.
cause when you get to that point, you'll be able to distinguish certain things, and it's like, okay, that's a red flag. Let me get off because you know what? I'm not on that wave right now. I'm trying to, I'm over here, you're over there. So I'm gonna have to like end this call. But yeah, community and the people that surround you is very important, on your journey, whether it was domestic or trauma in general. You have to be
Mhm.
mindful of that.
Okay, one thing that you just mentioned that was so good, and I don't want to skip past it because it was so good when you mentioned about getting off the phone. That just ringed in my spirit, setting boundaries.
Mm,
Because you're not there anymore. One
there
thing
you
I
go.
know, the one thing that I had, and it's so crazy, Kamar. Maybe a month or two ago, I can remember just feeling in my spirit that God, and I'm sure I said this to you on the phone before, but God had told me that I couldn't live with my trauma anymore. Like I couldn't live at that place.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me remember, like when we're walking away and when we have made a decision to say, okay, I'm going to be better than that portion of my life. I'm not living there anymore. Like I can't, for
Right.
everything in me, my sanity, everything, I cannot live there anymore. So once you make that decision, you got to start setting up boundaries, not only with people, but it reminds me with just what you say to yourself, how you
Mm-hmm.
speak to yourself, what you're going to allow yourself to consume. So it
Absolutely.
is so important that you said just the environment. And I was like, oh wow. Because community is one thing, but your environment, you have to control that too.
You do.
Yeah, and that's so I love that you said that because I was like, she sounds like it sounds like boundaries. And I was like, oh, because I'm still in the process of learning how to set up boundaries with a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm working and walking out my testimony and everything, I'm learning, okay, you got to set boundaries for this. And I'm still working on my saying no spirit. Um, Pray for me on that. Um,
It'll get easier. It'll get easier.
because I know that is something that derives from what I have experienced with my trauma. So I'm still working on that. But the boundaries, I love that you said that. That's amazing, Kamara.
It
Okay,
is.
so
Mm-hmm.
the big thing. All right. So how do we reclaim our lives as women?
All right. So
Don't take. I saved my edges now, girl. I done had this postpartum shit, and now I'm getting my edges back a little bit.
so so I just gotta put, like, you have to be ready and you have to do the work. It's
Mm,
not easy, it's not for the faint, and you're gonna have to keep pushing. Um you so when you're reclaiming your life, is basically you putting yourself first. Mom hat, wife hat, sister hat, daughter hat,
oh Lord.
that get pushed to the back burner
Yeah.
because we lose ourselves, like not just only from trauma, but also with titles. We lose ourselves, and we
Mm,
have to put ourselves first at some point to say, well, what do I want? And if this is what I want, how am I going to get it? And a lot of it is with personal development, and that's what it comes to. That's what it breaks down to, is personal development. Because I'm going to go back to environment, and like you said, boundaries. What are you listening to? What is motivating you? What is inspiring you? What is keeping that fire lit inside of you to keep going to accomplish your goals? And like for me, I had to I never liked reading in school. I didn't. Growing up, I ain't like reading. My mother would always say, go read a book. I didn't want to read a book. But now I
mm-hmm.
love reading. I'm reading so many books. If I'm not reading books, I'm listening to audiobooks. Um, like Instagram, I say is my live what you call it, vision board, because I am
Mm,
following people, you know, I'm following the people that I aspire to be, not like them, but aspire to be, to have their wealth, and things of that. I'm looking at um different pages on how to decorate, luxury, real estate, all the things that I like. That's what I'm looking at. I had to unfollow the shade room because I'm like, you know what, I'm getting too consumed in all of that, and that's not where I am. And you just have to do the work. And let me tell you, like, for me, I had to journal. Like, I was just talking to somebody earlier today, and I told them that I looked back at my journal from 2016, 2017, when I was going through it. And I look at it, I was like, girl, you was going through it at that time.
mm,
But that was the only way that I was able to release some things in my journey of reclaiming my life. I didn't have nobody to talk to. The only person I had was God. I wasn't good praying verbally, so I made a journal, my prayer journal. Every day I would write, Dear God, how I'm feeling, the things that I want, things that I want to go away, whether I'm at work breaking down, crying, I'm writing in my journal, because that was the only person that I can trust and rely on was God, and just writing in my journal. Like, I kid you not, I wish I had the journal right now to show you, but I don't want to pull up my stuff. But I'm telling you, journaling and speaking to God and praying, because let me tell y'all something. What you pray for, what you ask for, what you speak, your thoughts, they will manifest. God will give it to you. But I'm going to tell you this, delayed but not denied. I know we all heard that before.
say it. Mm,
Delayed but not denied. And I say that
mm,
because I look at where I am today, and
mhm.
I'm like, this is what I prayed for
Yeah.
5 years ago,
Yeah.
6 years ago. I prayed for this. And to see that, Dag, I'm here in this moment. And it may took 5, 6 years, but let me tell you something. The things that you're asking God for and praying for, you have to be ready to receive it. Because if you're not ready to receive it, He's not gonna
Say
give it.
that.
It's already done. But if
Mm,
you're not ready, He's not gonna give it to you. And if He would
mm,
have gave me what I have now 5, 6 years ago, I I wouldn't have been able to maintain no house, the mortgage, and all of this. Because let me tell
mm.
you, it's real. But I'm grateful that I'm
Yeah.
able to, afford these things, and the mindset that I'm in right now. Like, it's crazy. Like, God has really answered my prayers that I wrote in those journals
Mm,
5, 6 years ago. I kid you not. I'm in a whole different place, and I'm not perfect. I'm still growing on my journey, and I just can't wait to see this time next year, like what I have also accomplished. Because you know what? I don't know if y'all listen to Pastor Michael Todd, but it's bamboo season, and I'm here. I'm here to recover it all.
yes. Yes. I love it. I love it all. One thing that you were saying that was really profound was that at this moment you have to do the work. The work is hard.
It is.
It is hard when you're working on your trauma and you're healing and you're wanting to become a better person, and you're literally taking the time to birth this new person that God is constantly calling you to. I see it as just not a tug of war, but you continue to keep pulling the this rope because you're drawing
Hmm.
closer to God. That's what I see visually, and it's hard. Like you think about your hands, even when we used to play, and I don't know why I keep coming back to tug of war. You know what? I'm guessing that's what Holy Spirit is saying. It is a tug of war because
Mm.
sometimes we fight we fight back with God, especially when we have had trauma and we get back into
Mhm.
our ways. We start not trusting, and we start going back into, oh, maybe I'm gonna get hurt, or maybe I'm gonna get triggered.
There you
So
go.
you
Mhm.
speak. So when you said that you have to do the work, that is so important. Like, and I love that you said it's gonna take the work. That's the first thing you said. Like, it's gonna take some work.
Because you're gonna feel like you want to give up. You know how many
Mhm,
times where it's just like that, like you're and that and because you're beating yourself up, right?
mhm,
Because
mhm.
it's not going to happen overnight. It's just
Yeah.
not. And you have to accept that and come to the realization that this is a process. Think about how old
Mhm.
you are.
Yeah.
You learned all those things. Like, I'm 34, right? So I
Mhm.
learned certain things for 34 years of my life. So in those last couple of years, I had to unlearn. We are
Mm,
so The things that we've learned is already programmed. It's already in our subconscious. So now you have to.
mhm.
It goes back to what you said in the beginning. We have to unlearn the things that we learned,
Yeah.
and that is going to take time. And you have to give yourself grace going through that period. You have to give
Mhm.
yourself grace. Now, like, if you're changing, you realize it. Like, oh yes, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have said that thought. And that's good because you realize that you catched it. Now you're trying to rethink and trying to think of things and look at things in a different light. So you have to have patience and give yourself grace going through this process, because everything that I know today, I knew 5, 6 years ago. And as I said earlier, we create our life. I was able to accomplish so much in 1 year last year.
Mm. Praise God.
And that was based off of me
Mhm.
believing and doing the work and unlearning, no matter what situation may have happened last year, no matter how many roadblocks that came in my way. I still had to push. I had to say, you know what, there's something positive coming out of this situation. And no matter if it took a week for it to surface, it still showed a positive out that negative situation. I'm telling y'all,
Mm.
no matter what you're going through, no matter what people may have said about you or saying about you now, no matter what the creditor had told you that this can't happen. But let me tell you something. When
Say
God
it.
in it, when it's for you, it's for you. Because if
Mhm.
I tell y'all about my story getting this house,
Let it flow. Go ahead.
you gotta have faith. When I,
Yes.
when I'm gonna just say this right here and share this testimony, because
Mhm.
I don't know who it's for, but I think somebody needs to hear this. You have to have faith no matter what. Okay. You have to have faith no matter what. When I started this home buying process last year, this time last year, March, I got my pre approval, and it was for $280,000. And the market, the market got worse. But the way that it is today, that's pretty much how it was last year. I was upset. I cried. I said, God, what kind of house am I going to get with 280? You giving me a 4 or 5 bedroom home. You're giving me an open kitchen. You giving me my own office. You giving me a loft. I can't get that with 280. Let's fast forward. Fast forward July when I came to Florida to come look at some houses. My realtor at the time, she said, you know what? Because she gave me somebody else to work with. I said, okay, cool. So I went with him.
Mhm.
Before I went in July, I believe he told me my pre-approval was 300,000. I said,
Mhm.
okay, maybe I could get a house guy, but I was like, is it gonna be what I want or what I need?
Mhm.
When I came down in July, the realtor, she said, let me call. She said, let me call him and see if he can give you something more. I said, okay. She said, okay, well, he said he can give you 330. I said, what? 330? I said, what you talking about? So I kid you not. I think before I came down here in July, I was on Clubhouse. This woman prophesied to me and she told me to ask God for more. Yes, it was before. She told me to ask God for more. She said, "What is it that you want?" And I was like, "I just want like 300." She said, "God said to ask for more than that." She was like, "I'm saying 500,000." She was like, "I'm saying this big old yard, front and back." And I'm just like, "What's this?" You know, when you get prophesied, you like, you can't see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let me fast forward to October, December.
Yeah.
I was able to be approved for a home that cost $370,000.
Hmm.
And when I say you got to have faith, you got to have
Oh
faith,
God.
and you got to know that God is going to provide. Because when this woman said 500,000, I said, but my income doesn't even equate to be a pre-approved for 500,000. And I was
Mm.
like, well, how am I going to afford that? She was like, don't worry about that because God going to provide. And let me tell you, God has been providing. You
Wow.
just have to have faith. Like, no, I don't care what your situation is. I don't care what they may have said. I don't care what your past may look like. But if God told you something and he put that in your spirit and he keep giving you those same visions and dreams, it's going to happen. Your job is to believe and have faith. That's it. That's
Mm.
it.
You know, this is the wrap of the Diary of a Brazilian Queen podcast. It's been good. No, but seriously, Kimarra. Oh my gosh. Just the faith, like to have faith without seeing it. That is so important. And you know, you just
Oh, I didn't even tell y'all the best part.
okay, go ahead, tell us the best.
The
Yeah,
best
I don't
part
want you to forget.
is that this is a brand new home from the ground up. Nobody ever lived in this house before me.
Mm.
That part, I think God was just showing out on because I wasn't expecting that. Nor did I even want a brick. Like that wasn't even on my radar. It
Oh
wasn't.
wow. But look at God. And it just speaks to us how we sometimes we have little faith. Like and I know that you know the word says, you know, have a mustard seed, but sometimes we really we kind of count ourselves out, you
Yes.
know, out of what, like if God can, you know, do things abundantly,
And
okay, what abundantly above anything that we could ask for, you know,
mhm.
and we sit here and we say, oh no, because I'm just a little like, God, that don't sound right. I'm a little
Okay.
shaky on that. Like, you're gonna have to really show me some things, God. You're gonna have to give me some little insight. But it's like, no,
Mhm.
no, because in that moment too, God is strengthening our faith. And you said it earlier that sometimes we need to have that strength. We need to have those moments so that we can be prepared for what God is about to bless us with.
There
We
you
have to
go.
be prepared,
There you go.
prepared for it, because we will fumble. And it's crazy when you said it earlier. That's what God put in my spirit, and I was like, fumble, because you'll fumble it.
That's it right there. You got to be
Mm.
prepared for what you praying for.
Yes, yes. And in that time that you're waiting, God is preparing you
Come,
for the
you got a whole
blessing.
word.
And all of that the waiting, oh, God is just strengthening you up. You think that, you know, you sad and you alone and you isolated, you thinking all these negative things, but you don't even know that God is building a warrior out of you. Like,
Okay.
and I'm telling you, because when you said, I'm like, wow, because I remember we were on some calls back when you were, I remember you said you said this story to the whole mastermind group. You was like, hey, listen, I was on the phone with somebody all day and I almost hung up. But God told me not to hang up. And I think that was your testimony for that day when we was on that call. And I remember because I was like, oh man. Like, Kimarra, you said I was gonna stay on that phone if they had me on there for hours and hours. And I'm just, it just shows how a year later things could change. And you brought that out, that all you have to do is have faith, because I'm sure there's somebody watching or somebody listening that needs, or a woman that needs to be reminded that although you're doing all these things, although you feel that, you're stretching thin, although you're probably,
Mm,
what I'm feeling is you're going to bed tired, you're
come
doing these
on.
things, you're going from trauma, you're
Mm-hmm.
hurt, you're depleted, you feel like you're washed out, you feel like you don't have anybody. Oh,
Come
but God
on.
is there. But
He's
God is
there.
right there. And all you need to do is just believe just a little bit. Touch the hem, okay? Touch the hem right there. Right there. Just reach on out, because God is going to provide everything you need. And
Everything.
oh my God. And most of the time, and one thing that you said, Kimarra, is that I don't know how my income gonna do this, or I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but let's guess what? God did it.
He did
You,
it.
you was never supposed to do it. God was supposed to do it. You see how, and having, and it's so important, because you mentioned in those 4 years, and I'm going back because this is very important. In those 4 years, you were praying, you were journaling to God, you were waiting on God in those very moments. And God is like, okay, this is the very moment that I need you to know that you need to have faith that it's going to be me, that
Yeah.
because at the end you're going
Mm-hmm.
to give God the glory. And now you're like,
Okay.
praise God, thank you God, because I couldn't see, but you did it for me. And I can
Absolutely.
live on to tell my testimony. And you, what you just did, what you just did.
Just told it.
You
Because
did.
as you were talking and you were saying the things about isolation, feeling like you're alone, that nobody is there, like you're stretched
Mm-hmm.
thin, trauma after trauma. And that brought me back to where I was
Mm-hmm.
in 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Okay. Like at that point, I had just bought my condo, just
Mm-hmm.
bought my condo, and but just bought my condo, and a couple of months later was almost going to lose it because I was behind on my mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Behind on my mortgage. Because let me tell you something.
Go
Oh, I
ahead.
tell you. Yeah, if something is for you, it's for you.
It
Because
is.
even when I tried to get the house last year, when I applied for the house, they were trying to tell me, oh, you had a late payment for your mortgage. You won't be able to qualify for a FHA. That was a lie because
Oh
God done did it.
wow. Mm.
You just have to have faith, have that mustard seed faith, and keep praying, even if nothing seemed like it is happening. Trust and know that God is doing everything behind the scenes that you don't even know,
Yeah.
because it because when he come, he gonna show up big.
Mm. That
He
you
gonna
gonna know
show
it's
up
God.
big, and you gonna know it's
Mm.
God.
Yeah.
Because when you are in that isolation period and you feel like nothing has happened, just keep in mind this is your preparation season. And whatever it is that you praying and asking God for, you need to prepare for it. I don't care if I can't even give no example, but whatever it is, you better act like it, walk like it, talk like it, no matter what your situation may look like. I'm
Mm.
telling you, act like it, because we have the power to change things. Just
Mm.
as quick as it happened, we have the power to change, to turn it around. Just know that.
That is so powerful. Whew. We talked about a lot today. And one word I heard about maybe 3 times on this call, it was patience.
Mm,
And it goes back to the wait. And you kept saying patience, patience, patience. And I believe that if we just be just a little patient in our wait, that we'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just it's something that you and I just noticed it and I said, okay, she said patience again. She said patience. Okay. So all right. She's saying patience. She's telling us that, hey, just hold on just a little bit longer. And that just speaks so powerful just to reclaiming your life. So give us and put it into maybe 3 steps of how just a woman who is going through it, who may be in a stuck season, who may be in a season where they just feel that nothing is working out, 3 ways that they can reclaim their life, just 3 easy steps.
All right, so I'm gonna say write everything down.
Okay.
Write everything that you want, everything that you desire.
Okay.
The second thing I am going to say is dream, imagine, have big
Mhm.
imagination, a big imagination, dream big, no matter how far fetched that you think it might be. Continue to dream big, continue to dream about that thing every day. You wake up, dream about that thing, think about that thing, you work and think about that thing, you drive and think about that thing. Write, dream, vision, and then I'm going to say, um, faith.
Mm, mm.
That's it.
Amazing.
That's all I'm gonna say. Yep. Write it,
Oh, right.
dream it, and have faith.
Awesome. Okay. So this is kind of like our fun portion of it because I know that when we talk about trauma, it's heavy and everything when we talk about those things. But this was very empowering. Like I'm sitting here like, yes, I need to go reclaim my life today. Let me go pull out that journal because journaling is a thing for me, honey. I be trying. I be trying. But I'm
Listen,
getting better. But I'm getting better. Like I may not journal every day with this new thing of motherhood, called motherhood. I may not
it's
journal every day,
different.
but I do try to at least touch bases so I could just process my feelings and emotions, you
Hmm.
know, a few times a week. So that is really good. Okay, so we have a this or that segment just to get to know you a little bit more personally. So you could just let me know what you prefer and what you choose. Okay,
Okay.
so Kimarra, are you a stay in or go out girl?
Stay in.
Okay. Iced coffee or hot coffee?
Hot coffee.
Okay.
That was kind of hard.
Um, okay. Well, see, this is gonna be a hard one. This next one for you, because I know you mentioned both of these. A good book or a journal? Mm.
Right. I'm gonna go with my journal. I'm gonna go with my journal. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
my journal.
Okay. Quotes or affirmations?
Why you gonna do that?
I know I had to. I gotta see, gotta pick a side.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with quotes. I'm a sucker for a good quote. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Now this is a little I don't know because I know some days he might get picky or choosy. Um, NIV or KJV?
Dang, let me see. Because I like the KJV on the Bible app, but then I like my NIV Bible.
Mm,
I'm gonna go with the NIV.
okay, okay. Bible app or physical Bible?
Physical Bible.
Okay. Digital planner or physical planner?
Physical planner.
Okay. Listen to a podcast or watch YouTube?
That's why you do that? That's a whole nother like I'm gonna say listen to a podcast.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, awesome. All right. So let us know where we can find you. Let us know about anything you have coming up and just what the ladies can get from reclaiming your life.
All right. So you can find me on Facebook, and Instagram at Reclaiming Your Life.
Mhm.
And I am going to have I have several things coming up this year, but the first one that I'm going to have is a series that called Life After Domestic Violence. And that is really going to be talking about the mental health piece that we go through after leaving in an abusive relationship. And then this could also go for anybody who had any kind of trauma, no matter what it may be, because we all kind of have the same similarities, encountering something traumatic. After that, I will be having my Stepping into Confidence series, and hopefully to have my Get Out of Jail Sis conference this year, and releasing my two journals this year. So that's what I have coming up.
Awesome. So where can they find you?
So um, I mainly hang out on Instagram. So if you want to get me on Instagram, Reclaiming Your Life. And I am on Facebook, personal Kimarra Thorbourne, or Reclaiming Your Life on Facebook. But your best bet is Instagram. I'm an Instagram girl.
Awesome. Okay. So this last thing is just a fill in the blank. Okay. My name is blank and resilience has taught me blank.
Okay, so my name is Kimarra. Resilience has taught me the strength of a woman.
All right, now you trying to end this thing off, Snatcher. Listen, I done told you about the recovery, okay? But I love it. It has been such a blessing to have you, Kimarra. We may see you back on the podcast because we need to, keep this step by step reclaiming our lives. But I'm just
Yes.
so blessed for this moment. All right. Well, that is
Thank
it.
you
I'm
for
trying to
having
make
me.
sure we
All
don't
right,
have any
y'all.
questions, but we're good. All righty.
Bye.
Bye.